The Zone Coverage Podcast Network.
They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
Hell yeah, let's get Stinko.
Welcome, Giles and the Goalie Podcast, back in the Dinkytown studios.
Sure.
I really went through the Rolodex of all past studio names before I hit the
Did we
accurate
call
one.
the radio station? No, we never called the radio station the Dinkytown Studios, did we?
We just called it for what it was, the Cumulus Studios.
Yeah, and then the cupboard under the stairs.
Yep,
And that was it.
that was it.
And then
And that's right next door.
Yeah, it's literally like a half block from here.
That is the voice of Ben Remington.
Hello.
I am Giles Farrell. We back on Monday evening. We are recording just an hour before the Minnesota Wild hit the ice in New York City
Oh.
against the New York Rangers. For those of you worried about when we're recording this,
Why wouldn't you be?
just to make sure we're not out of date or whatever. But we will be in 60 minutes, so who cares? Happy early Thanksgiving to you and to all of our listeners, or happy Thanksgiving Day if you're listening on Thursday, or happy late Thanksgiving if you're listening after the fact, whenever the hell you listen.
So, yeah, that begs the question, is it better or worse to listen to us or your racist uncle?
Racist uncle.
Yeah, that's I mean, at least he's going to say something so outlandish that it's entertaining. We probably are more...
We just come at you with calm and collected takes. Your racist uncle will just come at you with something out of the radio depths of takes.
Yeah, this guy knows exactly where my mind is. I guess we are. We're like the anti-sports radio because we think about things that we say, and we have reasons for things that we say, and we have measured takes based in reality, and we're not trying to differentiate ourselves by saying something ridiculous.
Right.
I really need to stop. I can go on for...
Yeah,
that's how we're going to fill time today,
you can
Giles.
go
is
on
I'm going to
for a
rant
while.
about how much I fucking hate sports radio and this market
It's
specifically.
all bad. Like, I don't think you go anywhere, and sports radio is actually good.
No.
It's just-
No. I'm not saying that they're outliers around here.
We're
Like
not
they're the
right.
only ones doing it poorly.
Right. Anyway, we're going on. Good news today. They're back. Not we're back. They're back. The Minnesota Twins busted out the baby blue uniforms for their 60th season in Minnesota.
Nice.
They're hot.
Yeah.
As the kids say.
Yeah.
They're fresh. That's
They
what
are.
the kids say now.
Are they
At least
lit?
last time I checked. Yeah, they're lit.
Okay.
Wow, we sound old. We just,
Dude, I am old. What are you talking about?
we are the okay boomers of podcasting.
You know, I'm not going to take offense, or I'm not going to take issue with the whole okay boomer thing because F boomers, I guess. But I feel like it's misused often.
Oh, it is.
I feel like a lot of the people that get okay boomer are actually Gen Xers.
Yeah.
Which, you can make an argument that they're equally as terrible, I suppose. And, honestly, in my case, some people that get okay boomer are probably old millennials, which is me. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's misplaced, even though I like the concept.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. So, that is exciting to see. It helps with the loss of the cream throwbacks that they got rid of just going into this last year. I don't know if that's fully replacing the red jerseys, which I loathe, but we'll see. But also, MLB uniforms are switching to Nike this year, so
Yeah.
You get the Nike swoosh right out in front. Make sure you know that it's Nike.
You know what I really enjoy? That do you follow Paul Lucas on Twitter? He's literally selling Uniwatch branded seam removers, which is a very, very convenient way to cut the Nike logo or the New Era logo off of your baseball merchandise.
Yep.
I very much enjoy that. Even though I like, uniform aesthetics and all that jazz. I like that. I like that form of rebellion. Being like, yeah, Nike, you shouldn't put your logo on the chest of a baseball jersey because it's kind of gaudy there, and the logos have been on the sleeve for I don't know decades. Why not just keep them there? No, you have to put them on the front of the jersey because you're Nike. This is why people don't like you, Nike. I'm a fan of Nike things in certain aspects, but this is why people don't like Nike because they do crap like this. Even with that jersey, even that logo, the jerseys.
They do some really good things.
Yes.
Then they do some pretty egregious things.
Yes.
So there's some good and bad.
See Olympic hockey jerseys.
There you go.
Yep.
That is nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the good news of the day, which
no piss yellow.
You barely got to do anything.
Oh my God.
Today. So it was just like the one day there's like Jersey news, I want to run in your office and,
and I'm stuck.
People in your office, and then you're in meetings all day, and I can't even. Oh my God,
it was brutal.
Like I have to sneak text it to you. Like, here you go. All right. Yeah. What another fascinating week for the Minnesota Wild.
Really
I say fascinating as politely as I can. The main topic I kind of wanted to hit on was last week we saw Mike Babcock fired as head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, of which, there's a lot of crap that just came out once the toilet got unplugged.
Yeah. That was like, holy can of worms. They literally...
That's a literal...
opened a can of worms with firing Mike Babcock because then everyone felt comfortable talking mad S about Mike Babcock, and it really came to light how big of a douchebag he is.
Yeah. Not going to really delve into that because anytime you even tweet something about Toronto Maple Leafs, you just get like 5 Maple Leafs fans in your mentions.
Don't do
blah,
it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Don't do it.
Well, piss off. You sit there and search Toronto Maple Leafs on Twitter all day. Don't at me about that.
Right.
But what I found fascinating, I guess, was the odds makers, of course, as they so diligently do, put out odds for the next coach to be fired by an NHL team. And at the top of the list was our friend Bruce Boudreau, who came in at plus 125 to be the next head coach fired, followed by John Hines at plus 250, then Peter DeBoer of the Sharks at plus 300.
How is he not first?
John Cooper at plus 600, Bill Peters at plus 1,000, Travis Green plus 1,000. And I did, just for giggles, I quote tweeted that and I said, money's on DeBoer.
Yeah.
If I was the betting type. But the crux of my column that I wrote on Zone Coverage was, this isn't the time to fire Bruce Boudreau. He might be the favorite to be fired, just kind of based on results he's had as a head coach and kind of team expectations and this and that, which I get.
Contract.
But I don't think he's going to be the next coach to be fired, nor should he be the next coach to be fired. And reasons as such I listed off were Bill Guerin was made general manager very late in the offseason, like August,
right?
Which you want your general manager appointed in April, but right. Because the Wild did this process beginning in July, Bill Guerin really got a late start on things. So getting comfortable in the general manager's chair was kind of something I hinted at. then I had, getting out ahead of the Kirill Kaprizov situation, making sure he feels welcomed and wanted here is another thing, which he's actually going to do. I believe he's flying out to Russia at the end of this week.
Yeah.
After the holiday. So, we'll see what kind of news comes out of that. And then, I kind of hinted at other things of, like draft stuff and, figuring out who he wants to keep on the roster moving forward. And then you have Mikko Koivu's in the last year of his contract, and you want to handle that situation as delicately as you can. You don't want to alienate your franchise captain.
Is Koivu a snowflake? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just don't want a situation where you maybe overlook something and then you have a Eugene Melnyk, Daniel Alfredson situation where, basically don't be the Ottawa Senators.
It ends terribly.
Just don't do that. And I got to the end. It can't get any worse than where the Wild are at.
Not really.
Last week they were at rock bottom of the league. They've moved up a few spots because of their point streak through the last week, but it can't get any worse. And unless you have a coach that's in waiting, that you have lined up, ready to go, that your guy is ready to go, what value do you have to make this move now?
None. And to cite your point about the point streak, I mean, this team went one last-minute bed-essing away from sweeping the week. And the reason why the bed was essed, and you can go different ways with this, but his team still has really bad goaltending. And I wrote about this years ago when the Flames were first, started about firing Mike Yeo. The year that they traded for Devin Dubnyk, everyone wanted to fire Mike Yeo. Remember?
Right.
And looking back, maybe that would have been a positive move. But anyway, at the time, I wrote an article saying you can't blame Mike Yeo for this because Darcy Kemper's been terrible. And then they trade for Devin Dubnyk. He goes on a run. They make the playoffs. Yada, yada, yada. Obviously, not the results you want looking at the long term there. But it's kind of the same situation where it's like, yeah, I mean, you can be upset with Bruce Boudreau about how this team is playing because there are some nights where this team looks bad. But, I mean, you're also saying a team that really took it to Boston, who's a very good team, on the road, dominated the Colorado Avalanche for half a game. Granted, the other half of the game was kind of back and forth and didn't look quite the same. And then who else did they beat? They beat... Who else did they beat this week?
Colorado, Boston...
Buffalo. Buffalo.
They smoked Buffalo at home. But
yeah,
that was more
absolutely.
That was more of an indictment of how bad Buffalo played.
That's very fair. But anyway, my point stands. It's very easy to see what is holding this team back, and it's goaltending. And you can make the argument that goal scoring is down, and or the forwards need to contribute more, and I'm here for you. Obviously, not much is going right for this team to get them where they're at. But if they had league average goaltending, I think you're talking about a team that's kind of on the cusp of that playoff conversation right now, which is what the expectation is, as you mentioned.
Right.
So Bruce isn't making the expectation, but 100% of the reason why he's not at least meeting minimum expectations is bad goaltending.
Right.
Could they overcome that with incredible goal scoring? Well, sure, but that's not how this team is built. That's not who this team is. They just need better goaltending. And firing Bruce Boudreau isn't going to save that. I mean, as much as we've been those guys, unfortunately, firing Bob Mason isn't going to fix that. It just is what it is. And somehow, some way, Dubnyk and Stalock have to get better, or it's going to continue to be what it is.
Give Capo Kakkonen a try.
That'd be one way to do it.
Which they are reportedly on Tuesday against New Jersey. We're going to get to see Capo Kakkonen, which... I am all for. It's not the ideal situation to have him get a start with Dubnyk away for family reasons, but it goes back to the conversation we had a couple weeks ago where you kind of need to see what you got with him.
Might as well.
So, if he does well against New Jersey, give him another start.
No.
It can't get any worse. We really could just, now that I think about it, we sit here, we say the same 3 things every week, and we could just get away with putting on a rerun.
Mm-hmm.
See if anyone notices.
It's Batman Forever.
Yeah.
This year may be worse. This year might be Batman and Robin.
It's
pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. I mean, we're getting to nipple suit bad. I told you we were going to talk about Batman. This is how you fill time, Giles.
I mean, new goalie coach wouldn't be the worst thing. Maybe different.
It might change
voice,
some things. It honestly might. And again, we hate to be those guys, and we've never been a fire this. Again,
no,
we are
check
not.
Our history.
We are not sports radio. We've never called for anybody's head, very directly at least. But if that's a change that you're pondering, maybe that's a change you make. I mean, how you fix the goaltending, I don't know. I'm certainly not an NHL goalie coach. But that's something you could try, is all we're saying.
So, before we jump into our next topic, a word from our sponsor.
Oh, great. And this isn't even a joke either. That's the funny thing.
Somebody actually gave us money.
God bless them.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
A word from our sponsor. Are you tired of freelancers and agencies that care more about their conference and public speaking schedule than about the work you're paying them to do? Not quite ready for a multi-million-dollar virtual reality ad campaign? Want to work with someone who you can discuss the finer points of Paul Fenn's ineptitude with? Give friend of the podcast Brian Reynolds a chance. His new agency, NS, that's Nancy Sam, Marketing, will help you find the right channel, the right message, and the right time to talk to your audience. Specializing in social media, organic and paid, SEO, and email marketing, NS Marketing can help sort out your digital marketing strategy. With over 12 years of experience helping everyone from individuals and small businesses to nonprofits and Fortune 500 companies, Brian knows what can be done and what absolutely should not be done. So if you're looking for one of us to help you with your digital marketing, go with NS Marketing. Reach out to Brian at Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, at nsmarketing.net. Tell him your opinion on soup as a meal to get a free consultation. NS Marketing, better than a broken clock.
Nice. That's some high quality ad copy right there. That was a good read. You did a good job.
I practiced.
Oh, well, that
on my
explains
half-hour drive to work, I just had that sheet hanging from the rearview mirror and just practiced.
That's not safe.
No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. I did practice it.
You
on the way here.
could, tape it to the steering wheel or something. That'd probably be a little
Yeah.
more safe.
It just sat on the seat next to me.
Okay.
So
That sounds unsafe again.
No, I wasn't looking at it.
Okay.
When I was at a stoplight.
If we have any state patrol members listening right now,
Stay away from me.
We're very sorry. We do not condone these activities, even if we may be.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a message from Brian saying, "Please don't die."
Cease and desist.
Trying to read my ad. But no, absolutely, you should send him an email.
Yeah.
Shoot him a message because he is very good with words.
Yes.
I kid you not.
Whether you like it or not,
right.
he is very good with words. I think
if he's in your mentions for the wrong reason, you are up S Creek. That's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, so back to hockey, because
that's what we do.
Yeah,
sometimes
stick to Sprats.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any topics du jour you want to hit on?
No, I think we can only do so much with Boudreau and goaltending, and that's just kind of where this team is at. Like, a lot of people wanted to go one way or the other with that game on Saturday night. either condemn the Wild to being bottom feeders for all of eternity because they blew a 2-goal lead, which has never happened in the game of hockey before.
No, never.
They're on one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is the moral victory crowd that was like, well, at least we were leading Boston until a minute left. I don't think either sides are right. Obviously, the answer is always in the middle. It's kind of, that's a theme. But that's what happens when you don't have good goaltending. You don't hold 2-goal leads. Like, that's
Right.
It's as simple as that. And sure, the team contributed to that, and they didn't play very well with the extra attacker, and that's certainly not something to argue with. And the overtime woes, I mean, it's been to the comical stage for a while now. You know what I mean? And so, but that's, again, so I'll ask you.
At this point, the overtime woes are as funny as a Mr. Freeze pun in Batman and Robin.
That's fair. I mean, funny because it's bad?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going for.
Yeah, it's so unbelievably bad, and you're used to it. It's just funny.
Yeah,
that's just the stage of where it's at.
That's fair. So along those lines, and we didn't plan on getting into this, but I think it's a good topic. What do you think the overtime woes are most attributed to? Is it goaltending? Is it personnel? Is it somehow systematic? What do you think is behind it? I don't know that I have a definitive answer, but do you have any thoughts on it at all?
I mean, a lot of their woes are attributed previously to players not getting off the ice. It's a lack of what this team needs, essentially, is skill and speed. And you can do a decent job of hiding it during the season, which the Wild are, that's really their trait, is just covering up their lack of speed and skill. They're really good at doing that. And when you get into a skill session like 3-on-3, the Wild just don't have it. And they've gotten some wins, obviously, in 3-on-3 overtime, but I think one time it was Jared Spurgeon who won it in overtime.
Okay.
I think it was like Jared Spurgeon off of a pass from Jason Zucker. So probably your most skilled defenseman and most skilled forward.
Sure.
But I think that was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
But I digress. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but I'm curious to see like how Boudreau did with Anaheim in 3-on-3 overtime. Because maybe was that even around when he was in Anaheim?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Okay, because that would be something I would like to go back and take a look at, just to see if his strategy was indeed good, or if his main overtime strategy is good, or if that was something that they just never were really good at. But yeah, I think it's just on skill, but it could be something that is systematic too. I wouldn't rule it out. And obviously, there's only so much goaltending could do. You can have the best goaltending in the world, and there's only so much goaltending can save you in a 3-on-3 overtime like that, because you're going to get so many odd man rushes, and you're not Superman.
Fair. So I think the answer might be something along the lines of I think before it was definitely more personnel based than it was this season. I think this season the goaltending has hurt them even more so. I mean, last year that was definitely part of it, right? Because the goaltending wasn't good last year either. Dubnyk was terrible. Stalock was terrible. So I guess I should say, the last 2 seasons, it's been maybe more goaltender driven than usual, but in a double negative sort of way. I think personnel is the issue. I don't, and Boudreau is to blame for that. He's the one, for a long time, throwing out, Koivu and Suter and, whoever else, Parisi, to start every overtime. And it's like, we love those guys, but, not as fleet of foot as some of the players you have. So it seems like lately they had this strategy change and are still getting the same results because the goaltending's still bad. And not to say that the strategy change is bad. I think it's ultimately good. I think this is a situation where you have to trust the process when it comes to the three forwards and defensemen.
Right.
But until the goaltending changes, you're not going to get different results. It's just kind of as simple as that. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know what really to make of it. I think that goaltending is definitely the crux this year, but I also think that there's a whole lot of speed missing from this team before, and hopefully we see this new strategy pay off.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm just kind of trying to do the quick math here, so bear with me. In the last season, Boudreau was in Anaheim. It was kind of a sluggish start for him as head coach in overtime, 3-on-3. They lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, their first 5 overtime games, but then they go on a roll in overtime and they win. Well, they win 3 in a row and then they lose the next 2. So that's 3-8 or something like that.
Yeah,
3
it's
and
not,
7. It's
not great.
Not overly great, and that was a good Anaheim squad. 2015-16, they were the division champs, but they got bounced by Nashville. So, and then the year before, again, kind of a mixed bag of results in overtime. Actually, I apologize. They were a lot better the year before in overtime when they had that really good team. So I don't know. It could be a little bit of a system thing, but more or less it's the talent on the ice that I think you need.
Well, it's Boudreau picking the right personnel, but like I said, even when he's doing that now, it seems like when he's putting out faster players now, they're still getting the same result because the goaltending is still bad. So it's again, as always, it's not an easy problem to diagnose. There's a lot of factors that play into it.
Right.
But to say it's reached a comical level doesn't even really quite do it justice.
So we record here before the Wild Rangers game, and just reading through some of the media notes, in the connections tab, it is noted that Rangers hockey consultant, I thought he was a scout, but now he's just hockey consultant, Doug Risebrough, served as the Wild's general manager from 2000 to 2009.
So you sure that's not the missed connections section, like Craigslist? What I want to know...
I am a team seeking a hockey consultant.
And that's what I want to know. What do these contracts for consultants look like? Like, are you just there in name only, and like you can show up to the games for free, and like if you do decide to go on a scouting trip, they'll flip you a couple of grand or something like that? Is that what those gigs are like? I'm very interested to know. Like, what do they pay Doug Risebrough based on him doing? Like, I don't know.
Does he give input on how to draft first-round busts?
Is he the guy that they pay him to tell them what he would do so they know to do the opposite?
That's very fair.
That might be worth the money.
Is he the guy that drafts absolutely no one after the first round?
Even in the first round, he wasn't really particularly great. Gabrick and Koivu were good. I don't know what he did beside that. Was he Granlund?
Nope.
No, that was under...
Fletcher.
Was that Fletcher's first pick, right?
No, Nick Leddy was Fletcher's first pick.
That's true. Okay. I'm not great with that timeline type stuff.
Yeah, Nick Leddy was drafted in June 2009 and then traded February 2010.
First, they really let him marinate, didn't they?
What a way to start the decade.
It's okay though, because Cam Barker.
Uh-oh. A lot of decade reflections here as we get set to close out the 2010s.
Yeah, I never even really thought about like the whole end of the decade thing because I don't know. I guess I didn't really in 2009 either. But,
no, I didn't either.
I mean, if you remember 1999, holy Christ, was that all anybody talked about?
Y2K, baby.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they said maybe we just need a crippling computer virus in order to give a crap about the decades changing.
Y2K20, baby.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite riser moment? That's why I brought this up.
Well, I mean, credit where credit's due, he did bring in Brian Rolston, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
the Pavel Demitra trade was actually pretty good.
Yep, the Demitra trade was fantastic. I mean, that was a lot of fun. I mean, the Wild were really only one line, obviously, and not much else. But watching Gaborik and Demitra together, that was really
that was peanut butter and jelly.
It was really something special in a not Jordan and Pippen kind of way, obviously, but it was fun for what we had. It was a good combo, and man, just a lot of fun to watch those two play together.
Has there been a better tandem in Wild history than that?
Not consistently. I mean, I'm sure maybe other tandems probably. Gaborik and Ralston probably scored
Gaborik
more points,
and anyone, but yeah,
right. But yeah, as far as from just a pure chemistry standpoint, I don't think it's really particularly close.
Remember, we started the decade with a line of Antti Miettinen, Mikko Koivu, Andrew Brunette. I'm sorry, Brunette was on the left, Miettinen was on the right. That's a good second line. No.
Is it?
That's an average second line on a good team.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, at that time it was. At least on NHL 10 it was.
Let's, for fun, let's see where the Wild were at in 2010.
That's dangerous.
Let's see who's on the roster. Hold on.
See, we should have probably saved this for our last December show, but I ain't got nothing now. So
yeah, no, this is kind of how it works.
Just gonna hit on it.
So the 2009 to 10 season, the Wild finished fourth in the Northwest.
Todd Richards was their head coach.
Yep. So leading the team in scoring, Mikko Koivu, Andrew Brunette. This was the Marty Havlat season, or one of the, what was he here, 2 years? 3 years?
2 years.
2 years. Marty Havlat got a whopping 54 points. That's actually better than I thought. Marek Zhidlitsky, 43 points. Mittens with 42. Guillaume Latendresse with 37 points, R.I.P.
What could have been?
He's not actually dead, but... next on the list, Eric Belanger. I have an Eric Belanger autographed puck. Long story. Owen Nolan was on that squad. Kyle Brodziak, of course. Cal Clutterbuck, Nick Schultz, Brett Burns, Greg Zanin, Shane Knighty, Kim Janssen, Chuck Kobasu. There's a great throwback name. I've never heard of Andrew Ebbett before.
I have.
Cam Barker, yeah. Robbie Earl, we know him. James Shepard, Derek Bugard. Oh. Casey Wellman, Benoit Pouliot, Peter Sikora. Wow. I totally forgot Peter Sikora played for the Wild for 5 minutes. Clayton Stoner got a whopping 8 games.
He barely played.
John Scott, 51 games.
Big John Scott.
90 penalty minutes. I don't know why they needed him and Derek Bugard on the same team, but they did.
Hey.
Cody
smash.
Almond, Nate Prosser, PMB played
Smash,
1 game.
Baby.
Nathan Smith, Andy Hilbert, Danny Ehrman, Peter Callis, Jamie Cyphers, Justin Falk, and Maxim Noro.
All right, before we lose the listeners,
We already have. They're
I'll
gone.
give you some. I want to ask you a trivia question here related to 2010. This player scored the first goal for the Wild in the 2010 decade.
Oh.
That was on January 2nd, 2010, at XL Energy Center. This player played parts of 12 seasons with 7 different teams.
Oh, wow.
He was a draft pick by the Los Angeles Kings in 1996.
Oh. Was it Olin Nolan?
No. I think Owen Nolan was like the first pick in 1993.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'll give you another hint. He was... After the Wild, he was traded... Actually, he was traded 2 months later to Washington for a second-round pick in 2010.
Wow. Yeah, I'm at a complete loss. I have no clue.
He played center.
Was it Belanger?
Eric Belanger. I was going to say my next hint was someone filled his car with peanuts, and he did not take that very well.
I don't remember that.
I think it was a story on a Russo podcast. I'm sure it was. But, yeah, Eric Belanger was your first goal scorer for the Wild in this decade.
You know, I met him.
That's very obscure.
Yeah, and he was a pretty nice guy, I got to say. He did a grand opening for us at unnamed sporting goods store that is now out of business. And he hung out, and there was several people that were very excited to see him, and several people that weren't really all that excited but did it anyway. But yeah, he seemed like a nice enough guy.
So I mentioned that he was traded for a second-round pick.
That's surprising.
We don't talk about how the Wild got a second-round pick for Eric Belanger.
He had 35 points in 60 games that year.
And the Wild used that second-round pick, 60th overall, to draft Johan Larsson, who they later...
goalie?
No.
Johan Larsson?
He was a center.
Oh.
They later used that prospect, Johan Larsson, to acquire Jason Pominville.
Oh. That's why I recognize his name. Okay.
Then the Wild acquired Marcus Foligno in the trade for Jason Pominville from Buffalo.
6 shades of Eric Belanger.
So the Eric Belanger trade tree goes from Eric Belanger,
Yeah.
Johan Larsson,
Sure.
Jason Pominville,
Right.
Marcus Foligno.
I mean, there's some picks in there.
Right. There's the direct line.
Sure. Fair. Okay, well, I mean, I guess at this point you'd probably take that, I guess. I mean, Foligno is a very good defensive player, albeit not really super skilled.
Evolving Wild will tell you should have won the Selke last year.
Yeah, I don't think I would hold my breath on that one, regardless of what their stats say. But
I mean, he's very good. Their metrics saying he's very good defensively helped me look for more defensive things that he does, which
and
so that's
same.
just another advantage to trying to learn these metrics. It's just it helps you see things you don't otherwise see.
Sure.
I can't. I don't know. It just another avenue for you to digest the game.
Yes, I agree. I still don't know how much of a net positive he is because he contributes so little offensively. And that comes from not only just his point production, but from the eye test where it's like that guy does not look comfortable with the puck on his stick and basically throws it around like a hand grenade. And that's just kind of always been my beef with him. But again, the stats point to him being very good defensively, and I have seen that. I have grown to appreciate that, even though I wasn't his biggest fan since his acquisition.
I mean, his points per game is actually, this season, the best it's been with the Wild.
I believe that. But it's still like, what, 15th on the team?
Not, yeah, it's down there. But
okay.
he's very good defensively.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah, there's your Marcus Foligno appreciation
moment.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
the
fair.
direct lineage from Eric Belanger. I'm just glad we've let the segment just go because
oh my
just
God, we have
discovered-
lost so many listeners.
Hey, those who know wild history like we do will appreciate that.
Will they though?
Probably not.
I would have shut it off a long time ago.
I mean, it's better than a story about buying pickles.
Well, no, because we're not
Stop.
celebrities, Giles.
Yeah, so that was your actually, you know what? We're going to make this a weekly segment for the next month because I have a feeling we're going to need some more filler time. So we're going to find you obscure facts and players from the last decade, and we're just going to roll that in.
I do like the trade tree idea if you can trace things back to like almost a ridiculous level.
Yeah, that's
a good segment. I like that.
That's well, some will try to do. Oh God, Wade Dublitz.
Yeah. Anton Khudobin that season. Yeah. And our best goalie had a .905 save percentage. But everyone thought he was good. He was so good. He wasn't that good.
Tom's going to yell at us for this.
He is.
But
that's
whatever.
fair. It's very fair.
Yeah, just and again, just think to start this decade, the Wild general manager might not have been Chuck Fletcher.
Yeah.
It might have been Pierre Maguire.
See, there's always a bright side, folks. There's always a positive to
The
take
grass
from
is
things.
always greener.
You could be dealing with Pierre Maguire.
Well, we would have been dealing with Pierre Maguire. I don't think he would have made it this long.
No. But it begs the question, had he become Wild GM and flamed out spectacularly, would we have to put up with him on NBC? SN?
Probably not.
Or NBC. So maybe it would have been a net positive because it would have made our hockey viewing experiences that much better for years to come. Maybe the Wild should have just taken one for the team. You know? Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like we did the rest of the NHL favored by Paul Fenton, so
I'm very fascinated to see if and when he ends up anywhere. I don't doubt that he could be a scout anywhere right now, but I'm very interested to see if he ends up in a front office again because it doesn't seem like Nashville is super amped to get him back, and that would be the one place.
Nobody's super amped to get
Well,
him
no,
right
I mean
now.
nobody wants to work with a raging prick. We know that, but yeah, it seems very interesting to me, like what his next step will be. Like, what do you do? Where does your career go when it flames out so spectacularly after you reach the highest level and only last a year because you're such a dick?
Next week on As the World Turns. All right. We're going to shut it down.
Yeah,
and get out of here.
we probably should have a long
We've
time
run out
ago.
of content.
Yeah, sorry.
Once we got into Wade Double, it's
We don't even have jerseys to
it's all
talk
done.
about.
No, we did
Except
that
for
at
the
the
Twins
top of the
jerseys.
hour.
Yeah, no, Twins jerseys is great.
All right. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, thank you to Brian Reynolds. Again, check out... I lost my note. I was so good at reading it, and then I
damn it,
was so
Charles.
quick to get rid of it.
You steering off the road for this?
Mr. Reynolds is on Twitter at BReynoldsMN. But again, if you are interested in him and his marketing team, shoot him an email, Brian at nsmarketing.net. NSmarketing. Thank you to them for sponsoring this otherwise fine production. Zonecoverage.com/wild is where you can find this podcast and the rest of our written content. I also do work with the Minnesota Golden Gophers hockey team. So check that out as well on zonecoverage.com. Zonecoverage.com/subscribe. GATG20 is the promo code you can use to get $5 off a subscription. If you are an iTunes listener, please drop us a rating on iTunes. iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, all that fun stuff is where we are at. On Twitter, at Ben Remington, at Giles Farrell, and the podcast, at GATG Wild Podcast. Facebook.com/GATG Wild Podcast. That will do it for us, and we'll chat with you again next week.
Later.
That's not resiliency. You're making it sound like we're good. That's all. I'm done.